Shalom, shalom, akiyam. First and foremost, I would like to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakah, Kodash. I would also like to give a double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone, where I learned this 144% truth. I would also like to say peace and salutations to the hopeful elect scattered throughout all four corners of this earth. It's just Bayan back again through the spirit and power of Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai. And I just wanted to get into a brief lesson speaking on one of our beloved forefathers, Elijah, whom we believe through the spirit and power of Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shai, was the beloved elder Abba Bivens, due to him fulfilling the prophecy in Malachi 4, verses 5 and 6, where it reads that he would turn the hearts of the fathers to the sons and the hearts of the sons to the fathers. And this was fulfilled when the beloved elder Abba Bivens was on the scene, and he went into the Old and New Testament. He went into the gospel, the doctrine in its totality, you see, which ultimately is what we, the labors we have entered into, as Akiyam, in these times. We're pushing that same doctrine, man, which we believe was sent down from heaven, man. Okay, that gospel spoken of in Matthew 24 and 14, that's going to be preached throughout all four corners of the earth, and then the end's going to come. And, ultimately, it gives credence to this, this gospel being the true one, based on the simple fact that, us Akiyam and Akwaf, whole households, for that matter, that, Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shai has allowed to come into his light, have turned to righteousness, have turned from the ways of this world and, pursue the ways of our forefathers, and walk according, to the scriptures, man. Nothing else was able to get us into this mindset that we have now, giving credence that this gospel, and the phone chimed in, giving credence that this gospel is the gospel, and we believe that wholeheartedly. But what I wanted to do through the spirit and power of Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shai was, I wanted to go into the book of Ecclesiasticus, also known as the book of Sirach, chapter 48. And this lesson was inspired, from me doing some studying. And, I was in Sirach 48 a couple of nights ago, and, I got to reading, and the inspiration, fell upon me almost instantly. And pretty much, through the course of, a day or so, pretty much meditating on the lesson, as to how it could be edifying, and through the spirit and power of Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shai, I pretty much want to, go through, Sirach 48, probably the first, 9 or 10 verses, and pretty much shed light on some of the glory that was done by our beloved forefather, man. From him, through his word, through the spirit and power of Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shai, raining fire from heaven. Okay, he brought a woman's son to life during the time of the famine. He also pronounced the death of Ahaziah, man, to his face. You see? And ultimately, he was taken up in a whirlwind, man. He was beamed into a chariot, man. He was beamed into the chariot. This is the second account we have in the records, man, of one of our forefathers being beamed into a chariot. The first account is Enoch. Okay? Where you get the word Eber. Salakia. Where you get the word Hanukkah. Enoch. Okay? And the third account is obviously our Savior, the only begotten Son, Yahweh Shai, pursuant to Acts, the 1st chapter. You see, so, through the spirit and power of Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai, Lord willing, is edifying, to you, Akyam and Akwaf. Now let's go back in time to the time of our beloved elder, our beloved forefather, Elijah. This is the book of Ecclesiasticus, also known as the book of Sirach, chapter 48, and verse 1, and it reads, Then stood up Elias, this is Elijah, right? The prophet, as fire, right? And his word burned like a lamp, right? His word burned like a lamp. There was a heavy spirit on Elijah, man. So much so that upon his departure in 2 Kings, the 2nd chapter, the one thing Elisha asked him for is a double portion of his spirit, man. You see? Because again, Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai was dealing with Elijah on a very high level. Okay, and we're going to show you that, Lord willing. Right? Continuing on. He brought a sore famine upon them, and by his zeal he diminished their number. Right? And that sore famine was actually, it came in the form of a drought during the time of Ahab and Jezebel. I believe that's 1 Kings, I want to say the 17th or 18th chapter, where he declares that. Matter of fact, let's go get that real quick. Where he actually declares it. We can just jump in here. He declares it to Ahab. Ahab is the father of Ahaziah. Ahab, I believe he's the 7th. He was the 7th king over the northern kingdom. And he was a complete idol worshiper, worshiping Beelzebub, Baal, the god of Elkron, completely through following the ways of Jeroboam. Let me see here. Yeah, this is what I want. The book of 1 Kings chapter 17 and verse 1, and it reads, And Elijah the Tishbite, who was of the inhabitants of Gilead, said unto Ahab, As the Lord power of Israel liveth, before whom I stand. So you see the authority. He was coming in the authority of Yahweh Bahashim Yahweh Shai. And he was letting the king know that. He made that clear. Similar to what we do today. That's Akiyam. This is why we open up our lessons with what? First and foremost. Right? We want to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh Bahashim Yahweh Shai. Why? Because that's the authority we're coming in. See? We're coming in the authority of the power of all heaven and all earth. Yahweh, who you people ignorantly call God. Okay? His true name is Yahweh, which means he is, he exists. Bahashem means in the name. And Yahweh Shai is who you people ignorantly call Jesus Christ. Yah means he, Hawashai means deliverer. These are the true names, okay, of the God of Israel and his only begotten son in the Lashawan Kodash, the Paleo Hebrew, okay, the language of the heavens, man, which we're returning back to. But back to the point, right? This is the authority that Elijah was coming in, okay? Before whom I stand, there shall not be dew nor rain these years, but according to my word. And again, it came in the form of a drought, but it transitioned into a famine. Because I believe this drought was about, it was like 3 years plus. 3.5 years, if I remember clearly. It was like a 3.5 year drought. You see? And it was nice. Let's go back to, let's go back here to Sirach 48. And I believe that drought was in the land during the time of Jezebel persecuting the prophets as well. And Obadiah was hiding prophets in the cave, feeding them water and food. Let's go back to where we left off here. Continuing on in Sirach chapter 48 and verse 3, and it reads, let's read verse 2 again. In verse 2, and it reads, He brought a sore famine upon them, and by his zeal he diminished their number. By the word of the Lord he shut up the heavens. See that? It was by the word of the Lord that drought came. Okay, and it didn't rain. Right? And also 3 times brought down Salakia. And also 3 times brought down fire. Right? And I know the first account was again during the time of Ahab, when he confounded, when Elijah confounded the prophets of Baal. I believe there was 450 of them. He confounded them with being able to bring fire to the burnt sacrifice, and he was able to dry up the water. You see, but the prophets of Baal couldn't do it. You see, that was the first account. Ultimately he ended up taking out him and Jake ended up taking out those prophets, man. You can read about that, and I want to say that's in the 1 Kings as well, maybe around the 18th chapter, if I'm not mistaken, 18th and 19th chapter. But needless to say, the other 2 times was when it was the time of Ahaziah. Ahaziah was on his deathbed, and he sent captains of 50 twice, okay, to seek out Elijah. Elijah was on a hill. Okay, it reads, when you read about it in 2 Kings, the 1st chapter, Elijah was on a hill, and he sent Ahaziah sent a captain of 50, right, for him, and Elijah called to the Lord, okay, to bring down fire upon him. And what happened? There came down fire from heaven and burnt them up, man. It happened twice. You see, the 3rd captain that was sent was wise. He's like, you know what I mean? I see what you did to those other 2 captains, and they're 50. He's like, have mercy on me. You know what I'm saying? He was a wise, and that's the spirit, because, 3 goes into understanding. You see? So that 3rd captain that came with his 50 had the understanding. Like, it ain't going to end well for us. We move the way those first 2 captains and their 50 moved. But needless to say, those were the accounts of Elijah having fire come down from heaven. The Lord was dealing with Elijah, man, on a very high level. You see? Divinely. You see, in the days to come, in these latter days, when all hell breaks loose, when this devil, Esau, Edom, the so-called white man, comes down with his troops, you better believe that the Lord's going to be dealing like that again. The Lord's going to be dealing like that again with his men, man. And those of the elect. Divine intervention is going to be taking place on this planet Earth in the days to come. You got to believe that, Jake. You got to believe that. You see? Our power is not a power that he shall lie, man. Let's continue on. O Elijah, how was thou honored in thy wondrous deeds? And who made glory like unto thee? Who didst raise up a dead man from death, and his soul from the place of the dead by the word of the Most High. Right, and this is what I was referring to earlier in the lesson. Going into that woman and her son. Matter of fact, let's go get that account. That's in 1 Kings 17 as well, down at the bottom. Let's start. Let's start at verse 17. I'm going to just read down. The book of 1 Kings, chapter 17 and verse 17. It reads, and it came to pass, after these things, the son of the woman, the mistress of the house, fell sick. And his sickness was so sore that there was no breath left in him. So he ended up dying. Okay? He was dead for a minute. Right? And she said unto Elijah, what have I to do with thee, O thou man of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai? Art thou come unto me to call my sin to remembrance and to slay my son? And he said unto her, give me thy son. And he took him out of her bosom and carried him up into a loft. where she abode, and laid him upon his own bed. And he cried unto the Lord and said, O Lord, power, O Lord, my power, O Yahweh, my power. You see that Lord there, all capitals? That's Yahweh. You see? And he cried unto the Lord Yahweh and said, O Yahweh, my power, hast thou also brought evil upon the widow with whom I sojourn by slaying her son? And he stretched himself upon the child 3 times. 3 times, right? Which goes into understanding, right? And cried unto the Lord Yahweh and said, O Lord Yahweh, my power, I pray thee, let this child's soul come into him again. And the Lord heard the voice of Elijah, and the soul of the child came into him again, and he revived, man. You see, hey, you better believe it. Things like this are going to be happening in the latter days, man. This is a form of spiritual power, man. This is a form of spiritual power, man. Elijah was able to pray to the Lord to bring this boy back to life, and he came back to life. He was revived, man. See, divine healing power, divine healing ability, man. This is the type of power that the men of the Lord are going to have in these latter days, man. This is how the Lord's going to be dealing, like the days are old. Let's continue on. And I want to shed light on this just to, show you Akiyam and Akwath, that how high of a level Yahweh Bashim Yahushua was dealing with Elijah. Right? Things that were written before time were written for our learning. Right? And Elijah took the child and brought him down out of the chamber into the house and delivered him unto his mother. And Elijah said, See, thy son liveth. And the woman said to Elijah, Now by this I know that thou art a man of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai, and that the word of the Lord Yahweh is in thy mouth is truth. You see that? Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai was dealing with our beloved forefather Elijah, man. He was dealing with him heavily, man. And this is the type of intimate relationship we hope to have with the Lord in the days to come when we need him most. Let's continue on in Sirach, chapter 48 and verse 6, and it reads, Who broughtest kings to destruction and honorable men from their bed? Who heardest the rebuke? Right, and as far as this is concerned, he told who brought his kings to destruction, right, and honorable men from their bed. He told Ahaziah, right, the son of Ahab, to his face, man. To his face. You gonna die in that bed, man. You ain't gonna make it out of that bed. Okay, because the first time around, he sent messengers to Ahaziah to let him know these things. When you go to, we had mentioned it earlier, 2 Kings, the 1st chapter. See, let me read this and I'm going to jump down. 2 Kings chapter 1 and verse 2. And Ahaziah, right, which is the son of Ahab. Okay, this Ahaziah is the 8th king over the northern kingdom in Samaria. Okay, also going all the way off. And you're going to see why right here. And this is why the Lord killed him, right? And Ahaziah fell down through a lattice in his upper chamber that was in Samaria and was sick. And he sent messengers and said unto them, Go inquire of Baalzebub, the god of Ekron. You see that? Whether I should recover of this disease, man. You see that? Go. Let's get this. I believe this was a Moabite god, if I'm not mistaken. But let's find out. Same as Baal, I'm sure. Oh no, it's Philistine. Good thing I looked this up. Oh, Salakia. Shit.
Strong's H 1176. Baal.
Right? Lord of the Fly, right? A Philistine deity worshipped at Ekron. You see that? So a Philistine deity. Here it is. We had been told not to worship idols, man. And there Jake go. Worshipping idols. You see, Jake could never help himself, man. The number one thing that got us in trouble was the worship of idols, man. See, this is a Philistine deity, man. And you heard what Ahaziah said. He said, he told his messengers to what? Go inquire of Beelzebub, the god of Ekron. You see that? Whether I shall recover this disease. Now check this out. Let's blow this up. But the angel of the Lord said to Elijah the Tishbite, arise, go up to meet the messengers of the king of Samaria, and say unto them, is it not because there is not a God in Israel that you go to inquire of Beelzebub, the god of Ekron? You see that? Now he went to the messengers first. Things happen in between. Go read the chapter. I recommend you, Akiyam and Akwaf, go read the chapter. But we're going to jump down. Okay? As a matter of fact, this is actually what we had spoke on when Ahaziah sent his captains of 50. And through the spirit and power of Yahweh Shemel Shai, they ended up getting burnt up by the fire that was sent down from heaven. All right? So let's jump down to verse 15 real quick. Right? The book of 2 Kings chapter 1 and verse 15. And the angel of the Lord said unto Elijah, go down with him. Right? This is referring to that third captain that was wise enough to ask for mercy. Okay? Be not afraid of him. He arose. And the angel of the Lord said unto Elijah, go down with him. Be not afraid of him. And he arose and went down with him unto the king. Right? Ahaziah, right? He went down to see the king Ahaziah. And he said unto him, right? And this is what Elijah said to Ahaziah. Thus saith the Lord Yahweh, for as much as thou hast sent messengers to inquire of Beelzebub, the god of Ekron, is it not because there is no God in Israel to inquire of his word? Therefore thou shalt not come down off that bed on which thou art gone up, but shalt surely die. You see that? Elijah said this to his face, man, right? Check this out. So he died according to the word of the Lord, which Elijah had spoken. You see that? Yahweh Bashim Shah was truly dealing with Elijah, man. Right? And Jehoram reigned in his stead in the 2nd year of Jehoram, the son of Jehoshaphat, king of Judah, because he had no son. You see that, man? And that's heavy right there. Let's go back. Elijah was bold in the spirit, man. His zeal was on steroids. See? And this is how we got to be in the days to come, man. His faith and his zeal was on steroids, man. Let's get to the point. Continuing on in Sirach, also the book of Ecclesiasticus, also known as the book of Sirach, chapter 48, and verse 8 again. Who anointeth kings to take revenge. No, Salakia, verse 6. Who broughtest kings to destruction and honorable men from their bed. Who heardest the rebuke of the Lord in Sinai and in Horeb, the judgment of vengeance. Who anointest kings to take revenge and prophets to succeed after him, man. Heavy. And here's the point right here. Let's blow this up. Who was taken up in a whirlwind of fire and in a chariot of fiery horses, man. What is this going in? This is going into when Elijah was beamed up. You see that? And we can get details of this account if we go here. 2 Kings. The 2nd chapter. And it's just beautiful to see how the Lord was dealing with Elijah all the way to the build up to his deliverance, man. He was dealing with him heavily every step of the way. The book of 2 Kings chapter 2 and verse 9, and it reads, "And it came to pass, when they were gone over, that Elijah said unto Elisha, Ask what I shall do for thee before I," and Elisha was Elijah's understudy. Okay? Right? "Ask what I shall do for thee before I be taken away from thee. And Elisha said, I pray thee, let a double portion of thy spirit be upon me," man. And it was. Because ultimately, scriptures say, after Elisha died, that his body prophesied, man. You see that? So he received that double portion. It's going to be confirmed right here that he received it. And he said, "Thou hast asked a hard thing. Nevertheless, if thou see me when I am taken from thee, it shall be so unto thee. But if not, it shall not be so." And it came to pass, as they still went on and talked, that behold, there appeared a chariot of fire and horses of fire, and parted them both asunder. Right. What do you think that was? The tractor beam. Okay, that came out of that chariot and separated Elijah from Elisha. And what happened? And Elijah went up. You see that? By a whirlwind into heaven, man. He got caught up in that tractor beam, man. The second account we have on record of one of our forefathers being beamed into a chariot, man. Elijah. Okay? This is cold, man. Elijah got beamed up out of there, man. Right? And Elisha saw it, and he cried, my father, the chariot of Israel and the horsemen thereof," man. Hey, there were angels there, other angels. Hey, Psalm 68 goes into that, how the Lord comes through with, he comes through with his angels, man. Thousands upon them, man. Thousands upon thousands. Hey, the Lord of hosts is his name, man. The Lord of armies. See, our power is a man of war. This is what you people are going to find out. Yahweh Bashim Yahushai don't play. "And the horsemen thereof, and he saw him no more, and he took hold of his own clothes and rent them in two pieces." You see that? Hey, but it wasn't the end of Elijah there. Because as we know, pursuing of Malachi, let's go get it, the 4th chapter, Elijah came back at some point in these latter days. Okay? And we believe wholeheartedly that it was the beloved Abba Bivens. Why? Because look where we stand today. Okay, the tribes are coming back together in unity. Okay? Under Yahweh Bashim Yahushai, the true name of our power. Okay, we have the true understanding of the scriptures. You see? We understand what's going on here, man. Through the doctrine that was taught. You see? Let's just get this. Malachi 4:1, 4 and 5, and it reads, "Behold, I will send you Elijah the prophet before the coming of the great and dreadful day of the Lord." See that? The day of doom. Okay, upon the return of Yahushai. Okay, where the book of Amos 5 coins that day is darkness and not light. Contrary to what you will be taught by a wacky-tacky, bugged-out pastor in these 501c3 haunted house churches, man. "And he shall turn the heart," right, the mind of the fathers to the children, right, and the heart, right, the mind of the children to the fathers, man. See? We will come into the understanding, man. We will come into the understanding, and the elect, the remnant of the nation of Israel, will return and face the east and call upon their power and serve their power and worship their power in spirit and in truth, man. This is where we are. The only thing we got left now is a couple of prophecies and salvation, Akiyam and Akwaf. Salvation is right at the door. We just got to endure. Abaratazah. Lest I come and smite the earth with a curse, man. And that's going to be when? When the missiles fly, man. The day of doom, the end of this thing. That thermonuclear fallout. Okay, when missiles are shot from one end of the globe to the other end. Primarily right here on Mystery Babylon the Great. The daughter of Babylon. A.K.A. America, man. You see? That's going to be the conclusion, okay, of Esau. As it's written in 2 Ezra 6 and 9, Esau is the end of the world, going into an eon, a time, a space of time. You see? The restoration of the tribes is happening right before our eyes. Okay, and this was a huge part of biblical prophecy that was fulfilled. Okay? Huge part of biblical prophecy that was fulfilled. You see, with Elijah coming back and opening up the book in its totality through the Spirit, going into the Old and the New Testament, bringing a full understanding to these prophecies, man. You see? Hey, our power is alive and well. Our power is not an idol. And our power is nothing like these heathen gods, man. Because what separates our power from these idols of the heathen is prophecy. This is the separator. Let's close out right here. And we on our way home, man. Isaiah 45. Salaki, I passed it. Let's close out right here. Isaiah 45 and 5, and it reads, I am the Lord Yahweh, right? And there is none else. There is no God beside me, right? I girded thee, though thou hast not known me. And we understand, pursuing the biblical prophecy, that he's going to send his only begotten son, okay, to deliver the elect, those that turn from transgression in Jacob. This is why we're told to kiss the son, lest he be angry and we perish along the way. You see, Yahweh gave all power to Yahweh Shai of all heaven and all earth. You see, and it's Yahweh Shai the Redeemer that's coming back in the spirit of his Father, okay, to redeem the elect of the nation of Israel, man. You see, Lord willing, we're part of that precious number. You know, but it's beautiful to see the build-up. You know, going back to the point, it's beautiful to see the build-up to the deliverance of Elijah and how the Lord dealt with him from the beginning on a very high level. You know, giving him divine power. You know, all it took was him to call on the Lord, and things got done. You see, and this is the type of divine communication and access that we hope for in these days to come. You know, when we're in the tight, you know, in these straits, you know, in these tight spots, when Esau Edom comes down, you know, with his military, you know, and other forms of issues we're gonna have to deal with, you know, whether it be, you know, these militias, you know, famine. Because I didn't mention, but Elijah got fed, Elijah was being fed by ravens twice a day, man. Twice a day they were bringing him meat and bread. You see? So, hey, these are the type of things that are going to be happening in these latter days, man. Abaratazah, we believe wholeheartedly. You know, Abaratazah, man, as long as we abide in Yahweh Ba'ashim Yahweh Shai, hey, he'll deal. Abaratazah, we're part of that precious number. All praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakah, Kodash. Double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone, where I learned this 144% truth. Lord willing, you Akiyam and Akwath were edified. Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahweh Shai, Kal Halaliam La Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakah, Kodash. Shalom.